Doesn't get much better than that, does it? Filling your water bottle straight from a mountain stream. And look at this terrain. Steep hillsides shrouded in mist. This is Panda Central. China is vast. It's got the greatest mountain range, the Himalayas, the highest plateau, more caves than any other country, and 3 of the longest rivers to be found on Earth. In this series, I'm going to search out some of China's furthest corners. This is a little bit dicey going in here. Discovering the unexpected and thrilling life that's to be found here. I think this is your snow leopard.
Oh, look at that one.
Look at that one. On the trail of the unique animals, landscapes and people of wild China. Hey! Some animals need no introduction. I've come here in search of China's wild superstars and the mysterious wilderness that they call home. I'm exploring Sichuan province in southwest China. This is a landlocked region of mountains and bamboo forests, home to China's giant pandas. To say I'm excited to be here is an understatement. This is China's giant panda conservation and research centre. It's the vital work that takes place here, particularly the breeding effort, that's making all the difference in the conservation area. Pandas are one of the world's rarest animals. There are fewer than 2,000 left in the wild. Ensuring their survival is one of China's top priorities, but it's not an easy job. Pandas are famously solitary. They prefer their own company. In the wild, finding a partner is fraught with difficulty. Female pandas are very fussy and are only fertile for at most 5 days a year. But here, the captive breeding program has transformed the survival chances of the species. This is a breeding male, and the future of the wild pandas depends on pandas like this and also projects like this. This is a tremendously important place. This is Shangling, a 10-year-old, 130 kilogram, full-grown male panda. Here he is outside doing what he likes to do, which is to eat. But of course, the world is pinning their hopes on his sexual prowess because this is a stud panda. And what we want him to do when the time comes is to create the next generation. He's one of 30 pandas here, responsible for fathering the centre's cubs. Like all the residents, he receives extraordinary levels of care. I've been given special access behind the scenes to find out more. I feel like I should have a red cross on here. If it feels a bit like a hospital, it's because just like us, pandas can catch colds and other diseases. So strict measures have to be taken to protect them. Oh. Ni hao. Who's this? Panda vet, Dr. Wang Chan, is giving a very special panda her regular checkup.
I'm going to measure her and check her teeth, coat, and her heart rate.
So basically, a complete medical. This is Mei Mei. She's just over a year old and quite a character.
Whilst she's eating, it's a good chance to check her teeth.
She's clearly enjoying herself, clowning around with the vet team. It's funny. It's a tag team. You've got 2 vets, 1 panda, and the panda's winning. It's not just her lively personality that makes Mei Mei special. Almost 600 pandas have been bred in captivity in the past 20 years, but Mei Mei is the rare offspring of a captive bred mother and a wild father. She is one of the early successes of China's giant panda rewilding program. I want to find out more about it, so it's time to leave the centre and head out into the surrounding wilderness. Now, until recently, pandas were critically endangered. They're still very rare today. China has just under 2,000, but 2/3 of them are found in the wild here in Sichuan province. I can't wait to explore the area. I'm heading to a place that's on the front line of China's rewilding effort, deep in the heart of wild panda territory. This is where captive bred pandas are being released back into the wild to breed with the wild panda population. This country feels like it holds a secret. This is Longxihongkou National Conservation Area. It's steep, misty, clad mountains, bamboo stands and forest. It's really exciting. Many peaks are over 4,000 meters and often shrouded in rain clouds. The steep mountains are covered in dripping evergreen forests. Thick groves of bamboo make it an impossible place to hike through, which all makes it the perfect habitat for China's wild giant pandas. Wild pandas are highly protected in China, and people are not allowed into this reserve. This part of China, this conservation area, is a closed area. You can't normally come in here. I've had to have very special permission to be able to make this journey today. And even with a driver who knows the route, this is a difficult journey. The valley is often cut off by bad weather, and the only road in is regularly closed by torrential flooding. In addition, China is one of the world's most earthquake-prone countries, and this region is a highly active seismic zone. In fact, the only people who live in this valley are a small team of rangers who've dedicated themselves to the conservation of the wild giant panda.
Hello.
Ni hao.
Welcome. Ni hao.
Dahai.
Welcome. Yeah.
Xu Dahai has been studying the pandas here for many years. Now, as I've driven in today, I've been surprised by two things: the steepness of the country here and also the thickness of the bush. It must be incredibly difficult to see pandas in the wild.
In the 18 years I've been working conservation, I've only seen one living panda in the wild, and that one was ill. But we have adopted a new technology to track them. We have installed cameras in the wild to record the animals remotely.
Can you show me some of the images? Well, this old tracker needs his glasses now, so here we go.
This is a panda. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh, amazing. Is it a mother with a cub?
Yes, this is an adult panda with its child. The cub is about 1 year old.
After an earthquake in 2015, many rivers and streams in the region disappeared underground. Dahai and his team created artificial waterholes to support the pandas and other wildlife. Wonderful sight. That must please your heart to see that. This is lovely. Having a little rub, cooling his feet. Oh, he's having a bath. This is the reward for all your hard work. There are 10 wild pandas living in this national park. Now, Xu Dahai and the team at China's Giant Panda Conservation and Research Center are taking new steps to try to increase their numbers. In December 2018, they released 2 captive-bred female pandas into the park to breed with the wild population. And so they have radio tracking collars on them.
Yes, for 2 reasons. Firstly, this is a very large reserve. Secondly, you know pandas have a very sensitive sense of smell, and they can smell people from a long way off. They are naturally fearful and avoid people. They run away when you approach.
The radio collars enable Dahai to keep track of his precious new arrivals. Every day he goes out into the wild to locate them.
Well, I think we should go and have a look.
Okay.
Okay.
And today I'm joining him. I'm in the cloud forests of Sichuan province, discovering China's giant panda rewilding program. Every day, Ranger Zhu Dahai and his team trek into the wilderness to locate the signal from 2 captive-bred pandas they released here last year.
The rangers normally go out in 3-man teams. I've been asked to make up the 3rd man in a party looking for fresh giant panda sign.
But tracking them is not an easy task. Pandas are solitary and very shy creatures. They live in dense forests that are virtually impenetrable on foot. There are very few trails. It's easy to get lost and disorientated. You have to know what you're doing.
These must be some of the toughest rangers on the planet, with one of the toughest jobs. If you look up there, you can see just how steep this country is. And of course, they have to climb right up to the tops of some of these mountains to get a grip on where the pandas are.
Radio tracking the collared pandas helps Dahai build up a picture of how the 2 new arrivals are settling in amongst the wild pandas already here. The biggest challenge they face is establishing their own territory and food supply.
This is why we're here. This is bamboo. I love bamboo. It comes in all sorts of shapes, sizes and colours. It's got so many uses, it's incredible. It's a fast-growing grass. There are more than 1,000 varieties, of which 500 are found growing here in China alone. This is almost exclusively what pandas eat.
A panda must eat almost 1/3 of its body weight every day, so bamboo forests like this are a critical habitat for wild pandas. They simply can't survive anywhere else. As Dahai leads me deeper into the mountains, something catches my eye.
Dahai, what live in here? Could something live in here?
We created this.
So you made this?
This was used by wild pandas. We've improved it to offer more protection to a newborn baby in case a panda gives birth here.
And that's why you have the trail camera here as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
The trail takes us even deeper into the forest.
I mean, you can see how dense this woodland is, this bamboo thicket. Trying to see any sort of animal in here, if you see anything, it's going to be a fleeting glimpse. It's like someone's turned off the sun.
And this is where I spot unmistakable signs of the region's special residents.
Oh, it's fresh. And here, flattening. Here, these leaves have been pulled back, it's different. You see this break here is quite bright, here and there. But this vegetation is standing up. That indicates a time factor, it's not absolutely fresh. And there's also other disturbance here, more breaks here, do you see? This colour's been revealed. And then beyond, you can see these things here. I'll point to it with a stick. Here and there, do you see that there? That's a panda scat, panda dropping. Can you estimate how old this panda is?
Judging from the colour, I'd say it's over 2 months old.
Yeah, because they'd be bright coloured if they were fresh.
Dahai's impressive field skills reveal an amazing amount of information about the secretive panda. He estimates that about 2 months ago, a 6 or 7-year-old wild panda sat here for several hours. He shows me how the panda would have laid on its back and reached up to eat the bamboo around him. The torn bamboo stumps are a panda giveaway.
It's nice to come tracking pandas in the forest with you. You come alive, you have a passion for this.
The more you find out about the pandas, the more interesting they become.
Yeah, I can tell that. Wonderful. You can see how extraordinary the panda is. It is a broken piece of bamboo that it's snapped off. It's not an easy thing to break. Bamboo, it's tough. They're very strong animals.
Dahai heads to a location where he hopes he can get a signal from one of the radio-collared pandas. It's a route that takes us out of the forest along a vast seam of rocks.
Now, if you're being really observant at home, you'd look at this at first sight and think it's a river, but then it's mounded, it's not gullied. This is a river, but it's a river of rocks caused by a massive earthquake. It must have been devastating.
This giant gash through the forest is one of the few spots where Dahai might pick up a radio signal.
Every day the rangers go out with their radio tracking equipment to try and locate the pandas that have been released because they have the collars on. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Some haystack.
Success. It's several kilometers away from us, but it is unmistakably a signal from one of the released pandas. It seems that they're doing well, striking out and establishing their own territories alongside the wild pandas.
And that's great news. It means that one of the released pandas, the 2 females that have been released, is still out there, happily carrying on with its life. And this is the future, because pandas need a helping hand, and that's what they've been getting. It's fantastic news.
With any luck in the years ahead, the 2 radio-collared pandas will breed with the wild pandas here. And with Zhu Dahai and his team keeping a watchful eye over them, there's every reason to be hopeful for their future.
I can't tell you how exciting it is to be here in panda territory and to have found absolute empirical proof that there are wild giant pandas here.
This is just one of China's 67 panda reserves. A new China National Panda Park is planning to create wildlife corridors between the reserves to allow the pockets of pandas to interbreed. It's an exciting prospect, although I've seen for myself how tough this country is. So I'm returning to the Giant Panda Conservation and Research Centre to find out more about how captive-bred pandas are prepared for life in the wild. And I'm just in time for breakfast. In the wild, newborn cubs face a risky first year of life. At birth, they are tiny, about 900 times smaller than their mother, and they're born hairless with no warm furry coat to insulate them from the cold. Added to that, mother pandas do not have great parenting skills. They leave their tiny babies unattended for hours whilst they feed. Needless to say, these cubs' survival chances are much better. Dr. Chan told me more about them.
Here are our cubs, born last year. We have 10 of them.
These cubs are already used to human interaction, and so Dr. Chan explained to me that they will not be released back into the wild, but will grow up and breed here.
How do you select babies for reintroduction to the wild?
它们从就是野化的大熊猫，它们从生下来的那一刻
The pandas we plan to release will have no contact with humans. They won't even see a human face. Their mothers will teach them survival skills.
睁眼那一刻起就不会再看到人脸。
So how is the reintroduction of pandas to the wild going?
它现在
We have released 11 pandas into the wild. So far, 9 of them have survived. It's not easy work.
这个还是很不容易的。
Ah, that's still very good.
After breakfast, it's playtime. A group of pandas is called an embarrassment of pandas, but not these cubs. They couldn't be more unconcerned.
Who could be failed to be moved by young pandas there? And of course they're a success story in conservation, not a story that's finished. There's a huge amount of work still to be done, but there's something that China can be really proud of. An icon species for their nation, but of course the panda is so much more. If we as a species can ensure their survival for the future, there's hope that other animals will survive too.
Next time, I'm in one of the world's most stunning places, tracking the most elusive animal on the planet.
I think this is your snow leopard. Oh, look at that one.
Look at that
Yes.
one.